Hello and welcome to this latest instalment of the Moaning Show, and it's episode 15. I'm HED Rules 0001, and this week I will be answering a request from a viewer, and it's all about Arsenal Football Club. Now this is a very interesting Moaning Show, as I myself support Arsenal Football Club. I have done for a good, let's see now, I think it's around about 15 years now, and there's been tremendous highs with having an unbeaten season in the Premiership, numerous FA Cups, as I say, other league titles and things like that, but there's also been tremendous lows, and just very recently loyalties of mine have been sorely tested by the recent lack of trophies and wins of anything significant. And I can basically only tell you and go through my own personal history supporting the club. I can't really say I'm a true fan, because my interest in football as a sport is considerably less than it was, 10 years ago, or even 6 years ago, for obvious reasons, with which I'll come back to in a few minutes. So I'll start with when I started. It was in about 1994, 1995. At the time I was a Chelsea fan, and I was very frustrated with the lack of winning anything, and just basic non-happenings and things. And then Arsenal introduced their new manager, and his name was Bruce Rioch, or Rioch, I can't quite remember. But at the time Arsenal were, say, a mid-table club, but he brought in a player, a striker of supreme skill and supreme ability. He wasn't the most prolific goal scorer, but what I saw of him on Match of the Day and things like that made me really think twice about the team I was supporting. And at the time he was Arsenal's biggest signing ever, and it's the Dutchman Dennis Bergkamp. Now Dennis Bergkamp was a great player who had, I think he was playing for Inter Milan at the time, and he had been scoring goals and just basically technical wizardry. I'd personally say matching the wizardry of Johan Cruyff in the 70s. That's my own personal opinion. And the more I saw of Bergkamp and Arsenal, the more I wanted to support them. And I told my dad that I'm gonna change teams from Chelsea. And my dad is not the biggest Chelsea fan in the world. Out of the 20 teams in the Premiership, out of the 20 teams that have always been in the Premiership, in terms of number, if he had to support one team, Chelsea would be at the bottom of that list. He cannot stand them. he said, who do you want to support now? And when I told him Arsenal, he wasn't angry, he just laughed, because my dad is a Tottenham supporter. Has been, apart from about 3 seasons when I think everyone in the country was a Manchester United fan, when they won the European Cup, which is now known as the Champions League. I think it was late 60s, early 70s, something like that. You know, George Best was playing, things like that. So I switched teams, and then about a season later, Arsenal almost went down. But then Arsene Wenger was brought in, 96, 97. And the transformation of almost getting relegated to, I think it was 4th the next season, which was quite a change. And then the season after that, Arsenal won the Premiership. And I seem to remember having the and obviously numerous FA Cup finals and wins came with that, with the changes that Wenger brought in. And it was beginning to get disappointing when we didn't win trophies. You know, we'd go 1 or 2 seasons without winning a trophy, but then we'd win a trophy in, say, 3 consecutive seasons, maybe FA Cup or Premiership or Premiership. And then came, I have to say, the greatest football accomplishment of the past decade. 2003-2004, when Arsenal were the untouchables. Yes, we didn't win the Champions League. Yes, we didn't win what's now known as Europa League, UEFA Cup. Yes, we didn't win the FA Cup, but we had an unbeaten season in the Premiership, taking the title. And a lot of that was down to the team spirit, the players that Wenger had brought in, and much less the club captain Thierry Henry. And Henry eventually became Arsenal's leading scorer. But all too often, players that are brought in, because Henry started out as a midfielder, and Wenger used his managerial know-how to make him a player striker. And like all too many sports stars, specifically football stars, when you grow up playing football, or when you grow up being a professional sportsman, you want to play for the best teams. You want to be with the best possible equipment for training, or best equipment to use. And that in certain sports, you know, for golf that could be equipment like Ping, Titleist, or, you know, Dunlop Golf or Bridgestone Golf, whoever. Nike is the biggest brand. In basketball, the biggest brands are Chicago Bulls, Boston Celtics, Seattle Supersonics, LA Lakers, possibly Orlando Magic. They're the biggest names. In American football, you're talking Dallas Cowboys, you're talking Denver Broncos, you're talking you know, Green Bay Packers, you're talking New England Patriots. You know, you're talking massive, and in F1 terms, you're talking Ferrari, McLaren, and at the moment Red Bull. You're always wanting to be with the best possible team. And in football, the best teams in the world exist in a couple of countries exist in Italy. We're talking something like AC and Inter, possibly Juventus. In Spain, we're talking Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Villarreal, teams like that. And in the UK, where you've got 4 or 5 big teams and the rest of them try to keep up with 4 or 5 big teams. We're talking about Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, and just recently Man City and Arsenal. When you're a player playing for a team that has won domestic trophies, and all that's left to you is to win international trophies with your nation, when you're a player that's all that's got to left is to win trophies for Europe, Euro competitions like Champions League, UEFA Cup, Europa League or whatever, then you want to be with a team that's not guaranteed to win it but has a much better chance. So I've already popped to Barcelona, because Arsenal, no matter how good Arsenal are against or were, I'll come back to that in a minute, against domestic opposition, when it comes to foreign opposition in European competition or world competition or whatever, you have to adapt your gameplay. Now, that is why the 2 top teams in Scotland, Rangers and Celtic, can't improve. They can't get any better, and they cannot play European football anymore. Rangers and Celtic have been the 2 best teams in Scotland ever since I can remember, and they're always fighting amongst themselves to see who wins the Scottish title every year. It's boring. And because they're champions, they always get through to the Champions League, either Champions League proper or Champions League qualifying. And it's a bit like their national game. They always try to do well but fail miserably, and they get knocked down to the Europa League or even worse, and they cannot carry on. And lots to the same thing to do with Arsenal. There is significant progress in the domestic game, apart from a few years previously. Like I say, I'll get back to that in a few moments. But once you reach a peak of domestic, you cannot use that same thought wave, that same ability to say you're going to do well in Europe. You just cannot. And the worst thing for me is the fact that, yes, Arsenal have reached one Champions League final in the last, 10 years or so. And the mere fact that we've only reached one final is the reason why players like Henry have left to go to Barcelona or wherever to enhance their careers. Yes, guys have won World Cup winners' medals. Yes, these guys have won Euro Championship winners' medals. Yes, they've won like Player of the Month, or yes, they've won Premiership medal winners' medals, FA Cup winners' medals, Cup winners' medals even. But they've yet to win what's considered in football to be the biggest trophy, and that's the UEFA Champions League. If the UEFA Champions League didn't exist, If the European Cup didn't exist, then players would stay in their respective leagues, or come over to leagues just to play league football and domestic football. In 2005-2006 season, I think it was, Arsenal FC played Manchester United in the final of the FA Cup. Might have even been 2004-2005, not sure. I think it was 04-05. And we beat them in penalties. 5-4, I think. And it was captain at the time, Patrick Vieira, who scored the winning penalty. After that penalty kick was taken and he lifted up the FA Cup, both Henry and Vieira left, leaving a tremendous gap in the team. We were without a king, and there was no person to fill that void, even though there could have been. A couple of years after that, we moved to a new stadium, the Emirates Stadium, and in terms of the amount of crowd that can come to every match, it was needed. It was needed. But in terms of what it's done to the club, I would say go back to Highbury. Since moving to the Emirates Stadium, Arsenal Football Club has not won a single piece of silverware. 6 seasons. At the end of 11-12, that will be 7 seasons. Now, I myself, as I said earlier, my patience have been sorely tested, not winning any silverware or not winning any trophies in the last 5 seasons, coming up to this time last year. But this time last year, Arsenal FC were doing quite well in all competitions. We were up to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. Right, we've been knocked out the League Cup, but the League Cup these days tends to be looked on as a sort of peasant's trophy, if you see what I mean. In terms of what we could have achieved this time last year, we were in the top 3, I think, maybe even in the top 2 of the league. We were in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. We were in the Champions League, I think, quarterfinals as well. No, in fact, we were in the League Cup. This is where it started. We were in all 4 competitions. I do excuse me for that. And in these 4 competitions, we were in with a good shout of winning all 4 of them. We had got through to the final of Champions League, not Champions League, the final of the League Cup against, I think it was Birmingham City. Now, this is Arsenal Football Club I'm talking about. We lost the League Cup final, and that was the start of the downward spiral, in my opinion. Arsenal Football Club went from being in all 4 in contention for 4 competitions for all 4 pieces of silverware, and came away with nothing. And that sorely tested my patience. It sorely tested my resolve and sorely tested my loyalties. I'm all for supporting a club that does well, in my opinion. I'm all for supporting a club that's able to win matches and win convincingly, and I don't want to support a club that cannot win things. People may say I'm in the category of glory hunters. People may say I'm not a true fan. And I said at the start of this video, football is not my favourite sport anymore. It hasn't been my favourite sport for 10, 12 years. Formula 1 is my favourite sport. But Arsenal were in the final of the League Cup, we got beaten. We were in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, we got beaten. We were in the Champions League, we got knocked out by Barcelona, which, you know, to our credit, we got knocked out by the winners. We still got knocked out. No one team on the planet could beat Barcelona at that time. I still don't think anyone could beat Barcelona now. Maybe the Brazil 1970 World Cup could try and get through them. They'd even struggle, I think, you know, with Pele and all that lot. So from 4 trophies we went down to 1, and there went that as well. And during the summer transfer window coming into the 2011 season, the inevitable happened. Cesc Fabregas, the captain for the last couple of seasons, he left to join his boyhood club Barcelona. And so the downward spiral continued. We brought in players like Gervinho and, you know, Arshavin and all of those guys. We'd lost Nasri as well to Man City in the summer window, and basically losing your 2 best players. It was quite obvious at that time that Fabregas and Nasri A wanted to leave, and B were easily the best players. Easily. And I have been saying for many years, not only is the mere fact that we haven't won anything terrible, but the mere fact that we had lost these 2 players, our 2 best players, and in my opinion, even still, Arsenal's unwillingness to spend in the transfer market. You know, every transfer window, every, you know, July, August and January, the big clubs are buying big players to help boost their squad, to bring in the goals. They're spending 30, 40, 50 million pounds per player to you know, bring in the crowds, to bring in the goals, bring in the trophies. And yet Arsenal are spending a couple of million here, a couple of million there, and building up. That used to work. Arsene Wenger could bring in a £3 million player from Paris Saint-Germain or a £4 million player from Ajax and build them up. Doesn't work anymore. If you are an Arsenal fan watching this video, you cannot disagree with the fact that I am making now. Arsene Wenger is a bloody good manager. Second best in the country, and I would have to say second best in the world. And unfortunately we all know who number 1 is, because he's been at the job for so long, doing the same job for 25 plus years, or 20 years or whatever. Arsene Wenger only loses out to Alex Ferguson in that particular respect. Arsene Wenger knows what he's doing. That will shock some of the people I know that have said, well, you're not a true fan, or Arsene Wenger knows what he's doing. He's a bloody good manager, and he's the best man for the job. His methods are not successful now because his methods are not as successful or not as effective as money. That's what all this comes down to, in my opinion. Arsenal Football Club is, in my opinion, no longer willing to big to match the big clubs, and as a result we're getting pasted in terms of the... Let's put it this way. Arsenal FC have not made a significant purchase since moving to the Emirates Stadium. Yes, we've bought a Vermaelen here. Yes, we've bought a Szczesny there. Yes, we've bought an Arshavin here. But we've not bought a massive player for 6 years. And quite frankly, it's beginning to show. It was August of 2011 when we faced Manchester United, and they absolutely thrashed us 6-2, I think it was, or 5-2, something like that. And that prompted the board, I think, to give Wenger some transfer funds. And with it, he's bought Ben Ayoun in on loan. He's brought in Arteta from Everton. Korean player, I can't remember his name at the moment. Just shows you how much I'm following football. And Santos for left back, or to replace Clichy, who also left. But still not massive signings. Arteta's a good player, yes, but not a massive signing. We haven't made a huge signing, like I say, since we moved to the Emirates. But that's that side of things. The key to Arsenal's success at the moment, I strongly believe, is a Dutch player by the name of Robin van Persie. Arsenal fans obviously know what I'm talking about. This guy was touted as the new Dennis Bergkamp. He can be that good. He can certainly be that good. There is, you know, in the past few seasons I've liked to call him Robin van Sicknote. The guy gets injured at too frequent a level. He also, not that I don't think he's too much more of a sick note than Michael Owen or Darren Anderton have been, but I do think the key to Arsenal's success is Robin van Persie. This season he scored more goals than anyone else. 11-12 season I'm talking about here. And he's taken over the role as captain, which was probably one of the best moves Wenger's made recently. But even Van Persie's scoring rate has slowed in the last few weeks. And in the last few weeks, we've signed on loan for a couple of months club legend Thierry Henry back. And in his first 15 minutes on the pitch, he scores a goal. Henry, at 36 years of age, or 34 years of age, he scores a goal that puts us through to the next round of the FA Cup, 1-0. We're relying on our reputation, we're relying on past players, heck, past legends. There's a bloody statue of the bloke up in front of the stadium, unveiled at the start of the season. And if we have to rely on that, past glories and, you know, past accolades, we won't win anything else. You know, I know there's not been much moaning in this particular episode, but I'm going to do some now. I know people from the board won't be watching this or whatever, but all I have to say is, if I want to be successful, we have to have money. And I'm not talking just a couple of a million here, a couple of a million there to buy such and such from that club, such and such from that club. Not good enough. Not good enough. To maintain our rightful place as a top club in England, and to boost our chances of winning the Champions League, we need to spend. Now, I heard a rumour a couple of years ago, I don't know if this is true, that Arsenal is the only football club in the top flight that does not have any debts, or does not have any tremendous debts. You know, we're not, say, 300 million debt like most football clubs are. Something like 20, I don't know, something like that. If that is the case, and Arsenal were trying to stay in the black or in the very slight red, yeah, I, as a in the board of directors, would absolutely positively gladly swap that status for trophies, because you win more trophies, the better the players' quality, better in terms of quality, the players that want to play for the club, more fans will come and watch, more loyal fans will come and watch. You know, someone who lives in the southwest of England, I have never once been to see Arsenal play, and I probably never will. But more to the point, if Arsenal want to be successful, they've got to give the manager 100 million per transfer window, or close to 100 million per transfer window, to see what he can do with the squad. You know, to bring in the huge international star players. Because if you keep bringing in kids and guys that we've only heard of once in like a Europa League season, or once in a Champions League season, play for a team from Russia or Barbados, or I know Barbados ain't in it, but you know, Belarus or something like that. Yes, we can build them up, but if we can't build them up that much, or if we can't build them up at all, then that's wasted a couple of million, and there's nothing that we can do more. Buy some bloody players. Buy some bloody players that I've heard of, that fans have heard of. And the mere fact that teams are beginning, especially in the Premiership, to learn how we play as a team, I have to say that teams are starting to figure us out. We need to change the way we play. But the thing that gets on my nerves the most about Arsenal, apart from not spending in the transfer window, is the fact that I personally still look on Arsenal as a top 3 team, or even top 2 team. That is quite clearly not the case anymore. You've got Man United, Man City, Chelsea, and even Liverpool to some extent nowadays. And you see these clubs moving forward because they spend more, or because they've got a tremendous youth programme, as in Man United. But I see Arsenal, and we win the odd match 3-0 or 4-2 or whatever against established teams, and then we go draw one with Wolves, or just this past week we lose 3-2 to Swansea. Fucking Swansea. And that's the thing that's getting me annoyed the most. Here is a team that in 2003-2004 didn't lose a single match, hardly dropped a point. I think we dropped maybe 10-12 points all season that year. The point I'm trying to make is that Arsenal FC, as a team that is capable of going through a season unbeaten, a team that is capable of winning trophies, is not living up to their full potential because we lose the odd match to a bottom half club team. because we draw with a bottom half team. We should be winning those matches. We should be beating fucking Swansea. We should be beating bloody Wolves. We should be beating Bolton. We should be beating Blackburn, Aston Villa, you know, Everton. We should be beating those clubs 2, 3, 4-0 per match if we want to remain a top quarter club, top 5 club. And at the moment we're 5th, and I see the rut of no trophies continuing until someone pulls their finger out and says, look, we're losing here to a team that's much under-equipped than us, that's worse than us. We're drawing to a team that we should be whooping their ass 4 or 5-0, and we're losing their matches. We're dropping points, and we will continue to drop points until better players are brought in. I'm not saying the team we've got now is incapable. What I'm saying is that, like most footballs, they're at ease. You know, they're not getting a kick up the arse and saying, get the fuck on with it, play properly, put more effort in. And that is the key to move Arsenal forward. It's, you know, I'm not a football expert by any means. I'm more of an F1 expert. I'm not a football expert, but even I can see bringing in the star players will bring the crowds in, will bring the goals in, will bring the trophies in, just like it has with Chelsea and Man City. Yes, we might not have as much money, but I'm fairly sure the money's there. So that's basically it for this version of the Moaning Show. I do apologise about the length of it, but this was requested by a viewer and a fellow Arsenal fan. Like I say, I hope you enjoyed it at least, and some possible home truths arose in this particular show with me and my feelings for the club. Next edition, I can never say when these editions are going to come out. The light quality is pretty good today, but might not be next time. But next time is another requested edition for car parking fees. What I'm going to do is basically extend on that and just basically put car parking and fees of car parking and things like that. That is another requested episode. Like I say, any more requests out there, just put them in the comment box or drop me an email at themoaningshow@yahoo.co.uk and I'll pick it up. Or like many of you seem to be doing, is answering on Facebook. And give me more requests. Just keep throwing them at me, because I want to build the Moaning Show Summit that people can watch, people can relate to, and you know, hopefully someone might take notice of it and make me a star. So thanks for watching, as you do always, and like I say, don't forget to make any comments or suggestions in the comment box and or Facebook or whatever, wherever you make them, and keep checking out my other shows on the channel, like my top 5. Like I say, the wrestling one for predictions and things like that will be coming soon. The F1 prediction and results shows will be also coming soon, and you know, this channel's just going to build and build and build. I'm going to make it bigger, badder and better. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.